Hello and welcome. It's me, Percita, and this is Percita's Paradox. Thank you so much for joining me today. I greatly appreciate you, your time, and effort in finding me on this thing called YouTube. As always, if you are a new person on this channel, this is the first time you're seeing my lovely face, thank you so much for joining me today. And if you are an OG, as always, thank you for your continued support. I couldn't be nothing at all without you. I appreciate you. So today we will talk about us. We will talk about ourselves. We will focus very intensely on just what we are doing with ourselves, because I think that's just something that we have not touched on as deeply as we should. It's the middle of the year. We are 6 months till 2023, and we really need to hone in on really making the rest of this year an efficient and effective year for us. So the question of the day, the question of the day is, what are you saying to yourself? What are the words that you're using to encourage yourself? What are you doing to emphasize your purpose to yourself? And you may say, well, I try every day, proceeded to affirm, or, I pray about it, or, I talk to friends about it, I'm going to therapy. All those things are fantastic. I promise you, they are wonderful. What I'm concerned about are the little times, the little still moments you have within yourself, within your day, within your thought pattern, within your little pockets of hiccups of wandering off into your, thoughts. What are you actually saying to yourself? I know it's so easy to really try to be positive all the time, but I really want to emphasize this idea and this ideology of being honest with yourself and really being able to say things that maybe not be so positive, so encouraging, but honest. Because if you catch the reason why I'm saying that is there's something about trying to have faith when you really know you don't have it, or something intense about everyone on the planet. I believe we are created to understand that we should have hope. But there's a very strong percentage of us that struggle with the idea of being honest within our hope. Meaning, there's nothing about you that's supposed to be perfect. There's nothing about you that's supposed to not waver. There's nothing about you that shouldn't experience fear. I believe that society has taught us that if we say those things out loud, then somehow we jinx ourselves. I don't believe it's just the idea of saying it. I believe it's also the belief that would follow the words. Meaning, if I'm having a bad day, I acknowledge that I'm having a bad day. Proceed it. You're having a bad day. It is okay that you're having a bad day. Things just weren't the way that you wanted them to be. And it's okay to acknowledge that. It's okay to acknowledge right now, Proceed, that you're angry and you're going through the emotional disappointment of whatever it is that you're going through, because it is okay to feel it. Be in it, sit in it for the moment that you need to be in it, but understand it's not the end of the pattern of your life. It's not the all. It's not that the work is done. It's you understanding, Persita, that this is what you're in right now, but this too shall pass. And you may say, is that what you say to yourself, Persita? Yeah, it's pretty much what I would go through to say to myself, because I learned that the more that I tried to ignore that I was having a bad day, the more that I tried to speak just positive over the negative, it actually just put me in this really big spin, out of controlness of feeling as if I didn't even trust myself with my own emotions. Meaning, I didn't believe that it was okay for me to be in the space of disappointment or anger of whatever it was, as if I didn't understand how to get out of it. And I challenge you today to ask you, what are you saying to yourself? Are you able to do that? Or are you in a space where you go, well, no, girl, I can't say that, because if I say that, then all of a sudden I feel like everything else is negative and it just falls on me and I can't control it. And I feel as if like I'm just in this rabbit hole of terribleness and just life does not ever come back positive. I want to challenge you again to make you really understand a little bit about what you're saying in regards to your thought pattern. Then takes you to a place where you feel as if you're giving up. And that's the part that remains and becomes, I should say, becomes and remains unhealthy. Because you want to be in a space where you understand that truth is just that. It's truth. So you can absolutely speak it, but you don't have to feel as if whatever you're in it's all that you're going to have. It's the end of whatever your goals or your life patterns are. It's like bumping your toe and feeling the pain, right? That numbness that goes through your body, and the anger that you can't be mad at nobody else but yourself because you bumped your toe, and that, you know, reverberating energy of like really feeling the sting. But if you're like me, then you start to recognize as that feeling subsides that you needed to be more careful, or you weren't paying attention, or you were out of sync with something that was going on. And regardless of the fact that that happened, it didn't completely ruin your day. I think what I'm really trying to emphasize is that so many of us allow one terrible thing in the day to ruin the entire day because we don't quite understand how to speak it through the moment and still affirm it, but affirm it with truth and the reality that you're bigger than it and you can get over it. Everything that we go through in life, when we're going through it, we feel like it's the worst thing that's ever happened in our lives, and we'll never be able to recover from it, right? We'll completely be overwhelmed, and the world is coming to an end, and what are we going to do? Until you start to recognize and you become grateful and thankful in the process to know that whatever you're feeling, you probably have felt something similar, if not the same thing prior. And guess what? You made it through. You absolutely made it through. So you want to make sure that the words that you're expressing to yourself are healthy and as positive, but as truthful as possible. And I think that we only talk about the positive instead of understanding that owning the negative does not mean that you own it and you can never, ever, ever move from it. It means that you can address it and you can speak in it and you can feel what you're feeling and sit in that feeling for the moment that you need it and move on. It's really, really, really not about the fact that you should never feel negative. And I think society has us believe in that. You don't really hear people putting out memes that are talking that type of truth. We're just simply speaking the affirmation. But I'm telling you, truthfully, that the affirmation doesn't work if you don't believe it, right? Even though you hope for it. But you really have to understand that then your faith has to line up with your hope. Hope and faith run concurrent with one another. You can't have one without the other. So you don't want to feel as if you're supposed to be perfect within your walk of purpose, or life is supposed to be just that, or prayers are only supposed to be positive. And when something negative happens, you don't believe that it could be still governed and ran by God. Like it can only be the good things, right, that God has given. Well, he's not Santa Claus. I'll just tell you that off the cuff. And that's just my spiritual interpretation of what I'm saying. I understand that if I believe that God is God, then God is God even when it doesn't feel good, even when things are negative, even when life feels as if it's going completely down the chute of crap. You still have to understand that if you believe that it's still a God that you serve, then you would have to understand that it's still in his will for it to happen, meaning nothing can happen without being permission through God. It gets a little spiritual for you, but that's just fact. So here we go. And understanding like you really are okay, right? And it's really, really important for you to be super duper duper real with yourself, if no one else. And it's really important for you to know that it is okay to feel the negative. And it is very important for you to understand that it is okay, obviously, to feel the positive. But don't feel as if you failed if you have doubt. Don't feel as if you've failed your physical, I won't even say physical, that you failed your spiritual walk or your faith or your hope because you have doubt. It pretty much is inundated in you to be that way. You just have to understand that it's not you feeling it. Understand that you can say to yourself, you know what, I kind of remember being in something similar to this feeling before, and I realized that I'm no longer in that. So I can actually believe that there's probably something positive that's going to come out of this negative. I just am not focusing on it right now. So I'm going to allow myself to feel whatever it is that I'm feeling right now, but I'm also going to understand that this isn't the end, and I know that I'm going to get through it. So yes, you can be angry percita, but not for long, because you understand that that's not really going to get you where you need to go. And you can be thankful and grateful for what you have, because what you have is more than what you thought you were going to have based on the last time you felt the way you're feeling. So it's literally like affirming and having a testimony within yourself about what you've already gone through, to be grateful and thankful in that, to give you the power to move through the negative that you might be trying to tell yourself to stay in going forward. And it's interesting because we talk about testimony and we talk about our faith walk and how we should hope and prayer and how we should keep things in a position of knowing that your faith just has to be the size of a mustard seed, all of that stuff. But I don't think we understand that even in that, there's been no connotation of us to have to feel as if you couldn't feel the negative. The goal is to get past the negative, not eliminate the feeling of the negative. So I challenge you today to really understand that the words that you're saying to yourself should be healthy and positive, because those words that you're saying are important, but you also have to be honest with yourself in order to have what you need regarding discernment and regarding just how your hope and your faith will be aligned for you to move past it, to know that you can still remain healthy in it. It equates to if you have a cheat meal. One cheat meal is not going to kill off your diet plan. 20 cheat meals within a short time frame may do that, right? So you want to think about it. If you have a hiccup in the idea of, oh my gosh, I don't really know what I'm going to do, don't beat yourself up about it, because that's the part that I'm trying to make sure that you understand is key in you moving through a healthy, positive, personal relationship with yourself. Personal relationship with yourself, believing in yourself, trusting yourself, listening to yourself. These are all key attributes that you have to have moving forward when we're talking about things like self-worth and self-love and self-respect and, what you feel like you deserve, and soft life and all of these other things and characteristics that we feel as a society that we want. I just really want you to really concentrate on the words that you are expressing to yourself. So as always, thank you so much for joining me. I greatly appreciate your time and effort as always. If you stayed with me this far, please be so kind as to like, share, comment, hit the notification button, of course, subscribe, and do all those other cool things. But before you can do those things, I'm going to ask you to do 3 things. And those things are: live life authentic. As always, thank you so much. I greatly appreciate you. Please continue to follow me on Instagram and TikTok. If you're on those platforms, I'll leave my handle right here. And make sure that you do your best to be as positive and as honest as you can with yourself daily. As always, have a great day. Bye-bye.